Hello everyone, welcome back to Jikook Moment. Today we're going to dive into a moment that may seem simple, just a bowl of ramen and a soft smile. But wait, did you know that moment might just be a hidden love language between Jimin and Jungkook? Jungkook's spontaneous reaction, his warm smile, the way his eyes softened at the mention of a tiny detail, shook fans to the core. Not just because it was sweet, but because it felt like he was silently saying, yes, everything Jimin said, it's true. But was it just a coincidence? Or was it an honest glimpse into a relationship they've kept quietly guarded? Stay tuned, because what we're about to uncover is not just about ramen. It's about a hidden intimacy, so quiet yet undeniable, even Jungkook's face couldn't hide it. And believe us, this is one of the most emotional and personal moments they've ever shared publicly, even if indirectly. Jungkook's reaction, so sudden, so unrehearsed, his smile blooming out of nowhere, his gaze softening at a seemingly insignificant mention, caught the attention of many. Not just because it was sincere, but because it appeared to confirm everything Jimin had shared in his latest live stream. But this wasn't just any live stream. It wasn't a casual, throwaway chat. It was a tiny fragment of their story, a quiet, private moment that they chose to share, just enough. Jimin spoke calmly about a day they decided to take off together. A day without schedules, without stages, without cameras. Just the two of them. They chose to cook ramen. Yes, just ramen, but the meaning behind it ran much deeper. For most people, making ramen might seem like a simple, almost meaningless activity. But for those who have followed Jimin and Jungkook's journey for years, cooking ramen together has never been just about food. It's a symbol, a love language unspoken, but clearly lived. When Jimin talked about it, his tone was calm but full of feeling. The way he delivered it, understated, not dramatic, only made it more meaningful. As if he deliberately didn't reveal everything, knowing there's beauty in keeping parts of it to themselves. That moment was theirs, and we, the public, were only given a single drop from an ocean of intimacy. What made the story even more touching was Jungkook's reaction. In a different live stream, when the topic of ramen and that quiet day came up again, his face changed. That smile appeared unconsciously, his gaze reflecting a personal memory. No direct confirmation, but his expression was more than enough. It was a silent acknowledgement. Moments like this have happened before in their story. Years ago, they once cooked ramen together on a show. Even in vlogs or informal content, their gestures together have always remained consistent, warm, relaxed, full of comfort. From then until now, cooking ramen has become a kind of quiet ritual that binds them. In Korean culture, inviting someone to eat ramen even has a deeper connotation, sometimes used as a subtle expression of interest or romantic feeling. And in the context of Jimin and Jungkook, it cannot simply be brushed aside. Especially when these moments keep surfacing over time, forming a pattern that never really disappears. In one episode of Are You Sure?, Jungkook asked if Jimin wanted to eat something. Without hesitation, Jimin answered, ramen, and they laughed together. A light moment, but full of meaning. Because ramen is not just about food. It's about being together. About the comfort that only comes when you're with someone special. Jimin and Jungkook have never tried to flaunt their closeness. They don't create drama. They don't force displays of affection. Everything flows naturally, organically. Their bond shows up in daily routines, in glances captured unintentionally, in how they search for each other even among many people. However, in recent days, social media has once again been filled with speculation. Clips of a live stream between Jungkook and Taeyong were edited by certain parties to push a false narrative that Jungkook felt uncomfortable around Jimin or relieved to be with Taeyong. Some even added subtitles that were never actually spoken. This isn't new. These kinds of manipulations have been happening for a long time, editing reality, inserting assumptions, twisting facts to erase or blur the closeness between Jimin and Jungkook. But no matter how strong the manipulation, one thing can't be hidden. Jimin and Jungkook's bond is too real to be erased. They've been together since their early trainee days. They shared rooms, meals, dreams, and fears. They grew up together under the spotlight, becoming each other's safe space when the pressure got too heavy. Their bond was forged through time and experience, not through anyone else's opinion. There are things you simply can't fake, like the way Jungkook looks at Jimin, or how Jimin always knows where Jungkook is, even without looking. Like a reflex, their bodies naturally gravitate toward one another, a habit born only from a deeply nurtured relationship. Those paying attention know this isn't fan service. It's not acting. It's not scripted. It's life being lived, shared between two people, with a rare honesty and vulnerability, especially in the celebrity world. And when the outside world tries to create drama, Jungkook has answered without words. He chooses silence, but his actions speak volumes. He doesn't deny. He lets his expressions say everything. Whenever Jimin speaks of their time together, Jungkook never interrupts. He just smiles, sometimes nods, sometimes lowers his head, lost in memory. And from those expressions we know, he remembers everything. What's striking is that despite the public trying to twist the story, neither Jimin nor Jungkook has bothered to offer clarifications. They continue living as they always have. They continue showing affection in the same way, through actions, not grand statements. Because to them, this relationship isn't something to debate. It's something to live. When the camera rolls, we see how their hands find each other. How Jungkook instinctively places himself beside Jimin. How Jimin leans in without hesitation. They're not performing. They're simply being. Their togetherness is a home they've built. In a world full of judgment, they've chosen to be themselves and to remain with each other. And that's why, even as other narratives arise, hearts keep returning to them. Because what they show isn't fantasy. It's love, quietly grown, yet strong. There's a beautiful silence in their relationship. Not because they don't speak, but because they don't need to. When Jimin sits beside Jungkook and simply says, "We took a day off and cooked ramen," that's enough. Because they know that moment could only happen if both truly wanted it. And when Jungkook smiles, we all understand his heart is saying, "Yes, I remember. And I loved it." Amidst the glitter of stages and media glare, they found a way to protect their small space. A space no one else can touch, because it was built by the two of them, for the two of them. And maybe, in a world that's always rushing, the story of Jimin and Jungkook serves as a reminder. True love doesn't always need to shout. Sometimes, it just needs a bowl of ramen and the presence of someone beside you. That's more than enough. And in the end, after all this analysis, one thing becomes clear. Jimin and Jungkook don't need to say much. A look, a smile, and a bowl of ramen say everything. In a noisy world filled with rumors and twisted narratives, they remain each other's anchor, in silence, in small laughter, and in a bond that doesn't need to be forced. This story isn't about fan service. It's not about theories. It's about two people who choose to stay together, even when the world tries to pull them apart. And maybe, that's the truest kind of love. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications for more deep and meaningful Jikook content. See you in the next episode, only on Jikook Moment.